Acts 21, I read from the Institute for Scripture Research, the ISR, because it takes a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Greek to English, and Aramaic to English. Yah is the Elohim of the heavens and the earth, the first and the last and the only, and he's an extremely jealous El. He's so jealous that he doesn't even want the names of idols or mighty ones to come to our lips. And Yah is short for YahWeh, YahWeh, Yod-Heh, Vav-Heh. It's like saying Dan, Daniel with an E. What is a difference and does matters when people say that Phil, Bob, Sam, and Aaron are the same name when no they're not, and no one in their right mind would ever believe that. And only a fool would believe that a hammer could force its creator to do anything, and there was no letter J in the Hebrew, Greek, or Aramaic text because the letter J is about 600 years old, while the son of Elohim died for the son. While the son of Elohim, Yehoshua, died on a stake for the sins of all of humanity over 2,000 years ago, and a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Yehoshua is Joshua, and I strongly believe that the son of Elohim's name, Yehoshua, means Yahweh is salvation. I was going to say something, but whatever. 21. And it came to be, when we had torn ourselves away from them and had set sail, we ran a straight course and came to Kos, C-O-S, and the next day to Rhodes, R-H-O-D-E-S, and from there to Patara, P-A-T-A-R-A, and having found a ship passing over to Phoenicia, P-H-O-E-N-I-C-I-A, we went abroad and set sail, and having sighted Cyprus and having passed it on the left, we sailed to Suria, S-U-R-I-A, and landed at Sor, T-S-O-R, for the ship was to unload her cargo there, and having found taut ones, we remained there 7 days, and they told Shaul through the Spirit not to go up to Jerusalem. And when it came to be that our days were ended, we left and went on, all of them accompanying us with wives and children, till we were out of the city. And kneeling down on the beach we prayed, and having embraced one another, we boarded the ship, and they returned to their homes. And when we had completed our voyage from Sor, we came to I'm not sure if it's kind of like, the word tsunami, how you can't hear the T, but there's a T there. I'm going to try to pronounce it both ways. So it'd be Ptolemaeus, and then Ptolemaeus, Ptolemais. And having greeted the brothers, we stayed with them 1 day, and on the next day we left and came to Caesarea, and went into the house of Philip, Philip, the evangelist, who was one of the 7, and stayed with them. Now this one had 4 maiden daughters, who prophesied, and as we were staying many days, a certain prophet named Hagab, H with a dot, A-G with a line on top of it, A-B with a line underneath of it, came down from Yehuda, and having come to us, he took the girdle of Shaul, bound his own hands and feet, and said, Thus says the set-apart Spirit, thus shall the Yehudim at Jerusalem bind the man who owns this girdle and deliver him into the hands of the nations. And when we heard this, both we and those from that place begged him not to go up to Jerusalem. And Shaul answered, What do you mean by weeping and breaking my heart? For I am ready not only to be bound, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Master Yehoshua. And as he could not be persuaded, we ceased, saying, Let the desire of the Master be done. And after those days, having made ready, we went up to Jerusalem, and also some of the taught ones from Caesarea went with us. Excuse me. and brought with them one Mnason, Mnason of Cyprus, Cyprus, an early taught one, with whom we were able to lodge. And when we had arrived in Jerusalem, the brothers received us gladly. And on the following day, Shaul went in with us to Jacob, and all the elders came, and having greeted them, he was relating one by one what Elohim had done among the nations through his service. And when they heard it, they praised the master, and they said to him, "You see, brother, how many thousands of Yehudim there are who have believed, and all are ardent for the Torah." Ardent, ardent for the Torah. But they have been informed about you that you teach all the Yehudim who are among the nations to forsake to forsake Moshe. But they have been informed about you that you teach all the Yehudim who are among the nations to forsake Moshe, saying not to circumcise the children, nor to walk according to the practices. What then is it? They shall certainly hear that you have come. So do this, what we say to you. We have 4 men who have taken a vow. Take them and be cleansed with them, and pay their expenses, so that they shave their heads, and all shall know that what they have been informed about you is not so, but that you yourself also walk orderly, keeping the Torah. Oh my goodness, right there. But that you yourself also walk orderly, keeping the Torah that Moshe gave to the people without all the man-made garbage. But concerning the nations who believe, we have written and decided that they should keep themselves from what is offered to idols and blood, and what is strangled and whoring. Then Shaul took the men on the next day, and having been cleansed with them, went into the set-apart place to announce the completion of the days of separation, until the offering should be presented for each one of them. Excuse me. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Yehudim from Asia, seeing him in the set-apart place, were stirring up all the crowd, and they laid hands on him, crying out, "Men of Israel, help! This is the man who is teaching all men everywhere against the people and the Torah and this place. And besides, he also brought Greeks into the set-apart place, and has profaned this set-apart place, because they had previously seen Trophimus, excuse me, Trophimus, Trophimus, the Ephesian, Ephesian, with him in the city, whom they thought that Shaul had brought into the set-apart place. And the entire city was moved, and the people rushed together, seized Shaul, and dragged him out of the set-apart place, and immediately the doors were shut. And while they were seeking to kill him, excuse me, a report came to the commander of the company of soldiers that all Jerusalem was in confusion. At once he took soldiers and captains and ran down to them, and they, having seen the commander and the soldiers, stopped beating Shaul. Then the commander came near and took him and commanded him to be bound with 2 chains, and was asking who he was and what he had done. And in the crowd some were shouting this and others that, and not being able to discern the truth because of the uproar, he commanded him to be taken into the barracks. Excuse me. I need to get some water after this. And when he came to the stairs, he had to be carried by the soldiers because of the violence of the crowd. For a large number of the people followed after, crying out, "Away with him!" And as Shaul was about to be led into the barracks, he said to the commander, "Am I allowed to say something to you?" And he said, "Do you know Greek? Are you not the Mitzrite, Mitzrite, Egyptian, who some time ago stirred up a revolt and led the 4,000 assassins out into the wilderness?" But Shaul replied, "I am a Yehudi from Tarsus in Kilikai, a citizen of no mean city, and I beg you, allow me to speak to the people. And having given him permission, Shaul, standing on the stairs, motioned with his hand to the people, and when there was a great silence, he spoke in the Hebrew language, saying, B 26:14. Excuse me. All right, well, 22 is going to be what he says.